ESPN, but he got the lens from five-star freaks to them backwoods gems. True to Savage season. Let's be honest, nobody break it like Danny. Walking through combined milk like a myth. Danny got notes on a kid with no clips. He said, yo, check that DB from Portland State. You're gonna laugh, but bro, he can straight up play. He know the verticals, hand size twitch, but more than the metrics, he reads that grit. No hype trains, no agency deals, he break down tape. No cap, just real. Every year he called names no one knew. Then April hits, boom, round two. He saw it coming, y'all just scrolling. He dig through film, all the rest stay trolling.
Boom! Greetings from YouTubeville. Once again, Danny Savage, Draft Guru. This is part 3 of this video. Actually, part 4. Because the original one was August the 1st, 2025. So long story short, the other day, I'm watching film on a kid, and I took some screenshots, watched 3 games of them, like 3 o'clock in the morning. Then at 6 a.m., The Athletic put out an article about the top 5 highest draft risers. And I published all of those. I published 4 out of the 5, but like way before. And there was a kid on that list, Ted Hurst, wide receiver, Georgia State. Georgia State Panthers. So 6'3", 190, HBCU kid, and he basically, came out of nowhere, and they're calling him a round 3 pick. So I'm like, how did I miss this kid? It just didn't sit right with me. So now, who else would beat themselves up over missing a kid, a prospect? But on top of it, 99% of people out there don't even watch HBCU football. It's a joke, but so much talent comes out of there. I do. So now I did 2 videos on it. I went through 9 notebooks of my old notebooks looking for the kid. Couldn't find him. You know why I couldn't find him in my 9 other notebooks over there? Because he was sitting in a notebook on my desk. Ted Hurst up top. So I'm like, oh. So I put out Ted Hurst's video August 1st, 2025. So this past August, a month before the season started. Dog Pounds, boom. Thank you for jumping in the chat. And I did have tape on him from last year. And I was going in the video I dropped on August the 1st, I was going nuts because he was in the portal, out of the portal. The kid was transferring back and forth. He was at Valdosta State. I had him Arkansas State, but then he wound up at Georgia State. Better 2024 tape than he had in 2025. 2024, he had 58 catches for 961 yards, 9 TDs, with an insane 17.2 average. So, and last year, I broke down over 100, at least, HBCU kids. So, and like I said, I'm like, no way I missed this kid. And I did 2 videos. I couldn't find them. I went through 9 notebooks, man. And the reason I was having an issue was back in August, he was in the portal, out of the portal, in the portal, out of the portal. And I'm like, all right, man, I'll find wherever you end up. Yo, that's how crazy this shit is, man. And how, like, you think a kid's on one team and boom, he's on the next. So I did. I had. This is the wide receivers I had around him. And I'm going to put the video in the comments section from August the 1st. The kids I had around him were Hudson Clement, Chris Brazil, Tennessee. How's he looking? He's going to declare for the draft every day, 6'5", 200. These are guys I all put out a month before the season started. Corey Eakin, Texas Tech. Caleb Douglas, Texas Tech, month before the season. Reggie Virgil, Texas Tech. He was on my wide receiver 2 list of my first notebook of this year. So, like I said, man, because the reason was dog pounds. Savage, when will your top 10 lists be coming out? There are still playoff games and bowl games coming up. Yeah, listen, bowl games, forget about it. The top talents are going to opt out. You got kids opting out of like playoff games for the national championship. So when it comes to bowls, they're not even going to, they don't play. What I use the bowls for, I'm going to put out an all bowl team after the bowl season's over. What's good about the bowl season is you see young talent for next year, but most likely they're going to be in most likely they're going to jump in the transfer portal, and they might be on another team. Another team blows up a bag. You got to realize a lot of kids are going to play all year, and then kids opt out, and then boom, they just. But you got to realize, Dog Pound, the transfer portal, I hate it because you can put it's like going to a pool and sticking your toe in. I'm out, in, I'm out, in, I'm out. You can literally, if you just want to see the United States, and get your numbers up crazy high, you can legit visit 30 colleges if you're that good and they want to take you out on a town, 5-star restaurant, take you to a club. You can do that. You want a team a week? You don't like somebody or bam, jump out and go somewhere else. My lists are going to start coming out everything in total. I think the draft is April 25th, 26th, 27th, somewhere around that. Another thing, too, is they shortened round 1 from 10 minutes to 8 minutes, which is a godsend. When I was a kid, it used to be 15 minutes per team. It was brutal. And the draft was one day. It started at noon, and it would get over noon. 12 o'clock at night. It was crazy. It was it was more rounds. It was 11, 12 rounds, I remember. And it would start 12 noon on a Saturday and 12 o'clock at night. And they would have it every single year in Radio City Music Hall. So all my lists and all my sleepers will be published by April the 1st because I put all my content out there before the beast drops. So people can't call me a copy and paste champ. But I'm that's why I said, man, I don't have the best graphics. All my videos, I go live, bro. I don't edit. But I'm I knew I had this kid. I knew it. And I'm going to put the video in, and then I'll put some of his tape from this year. But this is my 3rd video on this kid. Actually, 4th, if you count the one I dropped August the 1st, man. But yeah, he's floating up the boards, and he's looking to be a round 3 pick, man. So, this all came about tonight was because, PFF sucks, bro. They did an article on the number 1 kick returner, punt returner, and they put that out today. So today's December 11th, and I'm oh, that's cute. I put this kid out like 2 months ago, 3 months ago. But I'm it's real cute. So then I went to my books to look for him because then I was going to publish that video, do a video and republish the video I did of that kid 3 months ago. And then I'm going down, and then who do I see on the top of page 2? Ted Hurst, Georgia State. And I'm like, yo, I knew it. I knew I had him. Yo, so I mean, here I am beating myself up because I thought I missed a kid, but yet I dropped him a month before the season started. I dropped him August the 1st. So, yo, I guess I must have an eye for talent, man. When am I going to start dropping lists? Combine is in February. The lists I'm going to start working on my own probably like in February. And I'm going to say the lists are all going to come out in February and March. It's a crazy edge class. I'm probably going to drop 30 edges, if not more. Crazy defensive tackle class between the ones, the threes, and there's even some good fives out there. There is. Don't be shocked. Don't be shocked like 60 defensive linemen, 70 defensive linemen. I'm serious. That's how deep the edges and defensive tackles are. Crazy deep. You're going to see like 30 safeties at least, 30 running backs. I only got one running back with a first round grade, but it's going to be like 2024 where the run, in my opinion, that means nothing, but the run on running backs is going to start round 3. And in 2024, I believe that's when I think the first running back was taken, I believe, in 2024. You know what it is, man? It's crazy because you have all these names in your head. And trust me, people, man, I ain't getting any younger. And it's like your head's going a mile a minute. And then once the draft is over, then you got to break down the undrafted free agents and then grade everyone's drafts, which I did. But the lists are going to start coming out. I need like another month. Listen, man, I mean, is one great playoff game going to change my mind versus 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games? Or is one game in the playoffs going to change my opinion of somebody I've watched for the last 3 years? Plus, like, perfect example is the 2 kids I dropped. I call them kids because I'm an old man. They're kids to me. Is the 2 Penn State running backs I dropped. I've been dropping videos on them for the last 3 years. Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton. So they're in a bowl game, you know what I'm saying, versus Clemson. They're not going to play. Like I said, you're going to see people for both teams. Clemson probably has 9 opt-outs. Penn State probably has 9 opt-outs. A new coach. I mean, you're going to see a skeleton crew. So like I said, like, I do love, and he blew up this year, and he was one of the first kids I dropped, was Delmonte Capehart, big defensive tackle for Clemson. Because like, and I put him out before the season started because everyone was blowing up Peter Woods and TJ Parker, and they dropped faster than old people walking on ice this year. I'm like, I just didn't see it. I didn't. Everyone had Woods. Like, this is why I show you, like, all these preseason lists. Archie Manning was quarterback 1. Yeah, how'd that work out? Everyone had Woods and Parker, Clemson in their top 5. I mean, Peter Woods, to me, listen, man, I like to go on 2025 tape, man. Listen, someone's going to get great value with him, but that's how good the defensive tackle class is, where you know what the problem is? And it wasn't just with the defensive tackles. It was so many kids believed like their everything they saw on them on the internet and where they were ranked and their draft rankings. All these kids believed that. And That caused kids at every single position, quarterback, running backs, wide receivers, offensive tackles, guards, centers, especially along the D line, safeties, line, corners. That caused a lot of kids to just fly up the boards, and so many like people that everyone hyped up dropped like crazy. So you're gonna get crazy, wide receiver, you'll be able to get a monster wide receiver round 2 this year. Legit monster. Wide receiver class stretches. Even rounds 3, I think you're going to be able to get a really, really good wide receiver. I love the safety class. I said that. Left tackle class, horrendous. Everyone's going to listen. Do me a favor. Whenever you hear Utah's both offensive tackles, Lomu, and they're both Utah's offensive linemen, they're guards. Everyone, not me. Everyone's going to have Utah's left tackle and right tackle in their top 5. Not me. These kids are going to get thrown inside. I'll give you their names right now because they were popular, and I just didn't see it. Spencer Fano and Caleb Lomu. Everyone's going to have them in their top 5 offensive tackles. Nah, bro. Those 2 kids with quarters in both their pockets, barely 300 pounds. You put them at tackle in the NFL, they're going to get walked back. They're going to get picked up and walked back and thrown in a quarterback's lap if you put those kids. They're going to have to move inside to guard at the next level. A kid I loved, and I put him out crazy early, Jennings Dunker, right tackle out of Iowa. And right now, he's flip-flopping him and Francis Muaga, Miami, him right tackle. Those 2 kids are going back and forth. And ironically, so I started dropping offensive tackles May the 8th, because I have the date up top. I had Muagu as my number 1 right tackle. Let's see. I had Dunker, I believe 6. This was just like a rough sketch. But Caleb Thienum, he's a top 10 tackle easily. Northwestern. And in May the 8th, I started dropping. Then a lot of kids that didn't. Marcus Bell, I had Markel Bell to use left tackle, all 6'9" of them. Another kid I like that a lot of people are not talking about, J.C. Davis, Illinois' left tackle. A lot of people are not even talking about this kid. But now you're going to see you'll see on Twitter, people being like, oh, so-and-so. But yet that's it. They'll be like, oh, so-and-so committed to the Senior Bowl. But yet they don't talk about him. And my response is, oh, so where did you have him ranked? Did you do a video on him? Like where, what? Did you see him last year? So everyone talks about there's a good edge out of Illinois, Gabe Jackas, who I've watched for years. But now, okay, if you're watching Illinois, and I watch games in sections, I start inside and then I go out. But now, if I'm studying the offensive line, now when the defense comes out on the field, I always start in the trenches, and then I work my way back. So you don't think Jackas stood out to me the last 2 years? That's why I would like him to be a little bit bigger. He's about 6'3", 6'2", 265-ish. Do I think Gabe Jackas is a 3-down edge in the NFL? No. But nah, I don't even think he's 270. I think he's smaller than that, Gabe Jackas. But it's a crazy edge class. Brian Parker, Duke, I had early. Who else, man? Remember this name, but he's a right tackle too, man. Falia Fiamoa. I know, right? Say that 10 times quick. 6'5", 335, Yo, Wake Forest. Yo, who would have thought that? Yo, straight goon, goon, goon. All he can, just that kid can tie his shoes standing up. Legit, can tie his shoes standing up. Carter Smith, Indiana. I mean, 30 starts. He is a little light in the ass. I would like him bigger. Here's another kid. No one's talking about him, but he mostly played right tackle. But this year he played left tackle for Wisconsin. Riley Malham. Yo, 6'8", 330, Wisconsin. Yo, Wisconsin is known for offensive linemen. Yet, and then this year he was playing left tackle. It's a horrendous left tackle draft. I'm telling you, I've never seen it this bad. I dropped a video on Proctor back in May, and I said I wasn't a fan. Caden Proctor from Alabama. I see him. Some team's gonna take him. I think he's gonna start out. I think he's probably gonna fail at left tackle, then get moved to right tackle. And I think his final position could be guard, Caden Proctor, which isn't a bad thing. But you see, this is why once a player goes to a team, I wash my hands of him. 2 years ago, Oregon State's right tackle, it was either 2 or 3 years ago, Talicia Fuaga. Yo, this kid was a goon. Goon. He went out to just hurt people. Now, Oregon State played him at right tackle, and I'm like, nah, bro. This kid's a god to me. I think he can get, because I said he's going to get exposed on an island. Long story short, the Saints draft him. Should I say any more? The Saints draft this kid, and they threw him to left tackle. It was a failed experiment. This year, he's playing right tackle, and the Saints got Kelvin Banks from Texas at left tackle. But this just shows you how I always say franchises are more likely to ruin kids versus develop them. And I said it from day one, Fuaga could get away with playing right tackle in the NFL, or he can be a 10-year Pro Bowler at guard. What do I know? There is a left tackle I do love, man, from Tennessee, Lance Hurd, bro, monster, 6'6", 330. I just want to see I just want to see how big this kid's hands are. This kid has to have at least 11 a chance. At least. This kid has mitts. He has mitts, and his arms. Crazy, crazy long arms, man. But like dog pound, like you were saying, like perfect example, Ole Miss. They're in a playoff game in 2 weeks. But they're basically, you know what I'm trying to say? What's his name? Griffin, Wayne, or whatever, the coach. He went to LSU. So you think those kids are going to play in the playoff games? Take Tulane if you want. You know what I'm saying? It sounds crazy. Oregon is so confident they're going to beat James Madison. They're not even starting their starting quarterback. How much bulletin board material do you think that's going to be, man? I know it's tough. It's the holiday times. If you got nothing to lose, bro, throw $100 on the money line because, bro, that's going to pay crazy. Oregon does have the easiest way to the national championship game, but it's so tough because Caleb Downs already opted out from Ohio State. I'm not on the Caleb Downs bandwagon. I'm not. I watched every single Ohio State game. The only one I missed was Ohio State versus Grambling. And you honestly didn't know he was on the field the majority of the year. Average size, average carpentry skills, average looks, average plumbing skills. Only 3 people are going to get that. Rome, Georgia. Only 4 people live there. And think about it. I mean, Caleb Downs did have much better 2024 tape, but I mean, 2025 tape, I would call him the all name team. Yet he's going to get drafted very quick. He's going to get drafted fast, but you take a safety in the top 10, he better be an Ed Reed, man. Value wise, I like McNeil Warren out of Toledo. A team better take him. If you're looking at him and you're picking in the late 20s, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, you better pick him because it's like fantasy football. And this is. If when you break this down to the most easiest sense, it's fantasy football for billionaires. And so if you're picking 10, 11, or 12 in a 12-man league, you have your two picks back to back. But long story short, you got to take sometimes people around earlier because when it snakes back to you, they're never going to be that way. The player is never going to fall back to you. And the NFL draft is the exact same way. And then it even gets more complicated in the third round because third round starts where like the comp picks come into play, So Jude Bowery, he's a decent left tackle out of Boston College. I liked him a lot. Cage Casey, I dropped him early. Boise State. There's a kid coming out from Ohio State, their guard. I would not go near him. I would not go near any Ohio State offensive line this year. None. Defensive line is a little bit different. Austin Barber, left tackle, Florida. I like him. Let's see. Interior. Let's get some interior guys. All right, listen. Penn State's left tackle, Drew Shelton, he's going to get thrown inside. He's going to be a guard. So, another kid I do like, he's not getting any love, Trevor Goodsby. Oh, he was prospect, I think, I don't know, 117, I think. So that's probably like June or July. Probably July, maybe, I would think. I got to see. Then my prospect 145 is Penn State's left guard. He's a goon, straight up goon. And when I say goon with offensive lineman, that is a good way. And he was prospect 145. So that's probably like June. I would say June or July. Probably June. Olavani Ione, 6'4", 345. 2024, he started all 16 games, and he started this year. Banged up a tiny bit. Who else, man? I even got a shitload of small kids. Texas State, I got a load of kids. I can't give you everybody. Another kid nobody's given a lot of love on yet. He was prospect 200 for me. Xavier Chaplin, left tackle, Auburn. All 6'7", 350 pounds of him. So 200, that was probably like first week of August. Trey Zune, 201. That's Texas A&M's left tackle. I liked him a lot. Wide receivers, I think Cornell Tate is going to be a steal. It's amazing, though. Like, listen, when I put these out in May, June, July, August, I say this is not my rankings, but you can kind of tell how I'm feeling about a person. Cornell Tate, Jordan Tyson, Denzel Boston, Zachariah Branch, Kevin Concepcion, Texas A&M. At 10, if there was a definition of track speed does not equal football speed, is Nick Highbar out of South Carolina. He's like 6'5", 230. Yet I think he should have played edge because this kid legit can he can qualify for the Olympics. His kid's this 6'5", 230. He's gonna run like a 4.2. Problem is, he has hands like rocks. That's his problem. In 3 years, he's done nothing. I'm gonna claim it right now. He's a Raider, 100%. Raiders don't care if you can catch. Teams have drafting tendencies. The Raiders don't care if you can catch. If you can run a 4.1, 4.2, boom, they're going to draft you. And I would bet money if the Dallas Cowboys had a round 2 or a round 3 pick, which they don't, they would take a flyer on him. Someone's going to take a flyer on him. Or there's two things. I think his hands suck, or we're going to find out if Lenora Sellers is really garbage and he couldn't get him the ball. But when he goes to the combine and runs like a 4'1", someone's going to throw a crazy high pick at him. DT Sheffield, Rutgers, CJ Daniels, Miami. Majority of Miami's best wide receivers were like true freshmen. Elijah Surratt, he was picked, I think 191 or 192, I believe. I even got a kid here. I got Malachi Fields. He had a decent year for Notre Dame. Dane Key, Nebraska. Omega Blake played on a horrendous Arkansas team. All right, we're looking at some running backs. Jeremiah Love, he's the only running back I got with a first round grade. Nicholas Singleton, what? Katron Allen, what? Had Mekhi Hughes high. Tulane transfer, went to Oregon. He got hurt. I think he rushed for like 70 yards this year. So he's either going to jump in because Oregon has a true freshman that just blew up. He might stay or he might jump in the portal and go somewhere else. Justice Haynes, Michigan. I like him a lot. Alabama transfer. Jonah Coleman. Yo, bro. Jonah Coleman, he was running back 48. He was draft prospect 48. But 9 running back. I like Lavon Morse, Texas A&M, when he can stay healthy. CJ Campbell, Rutgers. Quentin Wisner is Texas. He's this year's Jaden Blue, just a little bit bigger. Baxter, really didn't do much. Jaheim White, West Virginia, on the smaller side. Mazul Faison. Ahmad Hardy, Missouri. He accepted a Senior Bowl invite. He put up some sick stats. Check out the size of this kid. Caden Fagan, Illinois. And he put up some good stats this year. 6'3", 260 pounds, bro. And he plays a little tight end. Bro. Desmond Reed Pitt, he's been hurt. Yeah, CJ Baxter did shit with Texas this year. Desmond Claiborne, Wake Forest. These are all preseason before the season even started. Let's see. All right, D tackles. Dante Corleone, the Godfather. Bro, he's like 6'3", 330, 17-inch shoes, 11-inch hands. In my opinion, his kid's been playing. He had some when you watch people for so long, I don't know if I think it was last year, he had some blood clot issues, but he played, came back. My opinion, he's played in the wrong division. Cincinnati, nah, man, that's like the Big 12, I believe. where they pass more. Yet, yo, he has some he has a good motor. But like in my opinion, if Dante Corleone was in like the Big Ten or the SEC, yo, people would be blowing him up. Zane Durant, 3 Tech, Penn State. Yo, I want to find anybody that had Clemson backup, Delmonte Capehart, all 6'5", 330 of them. And he was my preseason 6th rated defensive tackle. Yet everyone had Woods and Parker. Who's going to have a backup? Know what I love too? Also, everyone's blowing up Lee Hunter, Texas Tech, 6'4", 330. And I'm like, well, what'd you think of last year's tape? And then people start stuttering. What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm like, you realize he was at UCF, right? Yo, I thought I had a killer last year, man. But he jumped in, got a bag. Bear Alexander, Oregon / USC. Can he just stay healthy? Ironically, I put out a kid preseason, Tyrone Malone. Bro, he went to crazy. Big kid. He's starting on the defensive line for Ohio State. He started this season. He's going to be starting in the national championship or the playoffs. Long story short, he was at Ole Miss for like 3-4 years, barely saw the field, transferred to Ohio State, barely saw the field last year. But on that team starting, that really says something. Darrell Jackson, he was 13. Oh my God, that's probably in May. I probably dropped him in May for FSU. Goon, straight goon 1 Tech, bro. Caleb Banks, 6'6", 350. Cameron Jackson. These are just some DTs. Cole Brevard. Rashawn Benny, Michigan. I know a lot of people don't like. Yo, come on, bro. Here's 2 kids that I dropped. They're like 105, 106. James Smith, Alabama. Tim Keenan, Alabama. They had injury issues. Bro, 2 monsters this year. So, they're like 6'2", 6'3", 330. Oh, man. And these are like people I dropped in like May. Christian Miller, Georgia. He's a hot name. He was draft prospect 154. So if 182 was August the 1st, 154 was maybe July, maybe, I would think. Another kid, okay, boom. Nobody was talking about this kid preseason. Dominique Orange, defensive tackle, Iowa State. He's draft prospect 155. Zion Young, Missouri. Crazy, man. Caden McDonald, Ohio State. Omari Washington, Oregon. He's a Keldrick Fork. I've been talking about him since May. 6'6", 275, Auburn, edge. I like LT Overton, Bama. He's had some injury issues. I got Jackus. He was my 10th edge. He's oh man. Everyone has Ruben Bain like in the top 5. I just don't see it. Don't see it. Great motor, but the size comes into play. I don't think Bain is a 3-down edge. We'll see. They got another kid too. He plays up and down their D line, and you'll see. You can watch Miami versus Texas A&M, and this kid's been through a shitload of schools, and he's over age. Akeem Massador, check him out. Bo Atkinson, I believe. He got hurt. North Carolina, literally started North Carolina, transferred to Arkansas, transferred to Ohio State, started their first couple of games, and then you got the Moores. There's two Moores. Derek Moore, Michigan, and then Trey Moore, Texas. These were all kids I put out in May. Michael White is someone no one's really. Wait a second. I take that back. Trey White, San Diego State. A lot of people are not talking about him, even though he had a really, really good 2024. His 2025, a little bit undersized, but The Undertaker, Will Helt, Clemson, Edge, 6'6", 265. I see him coming back for another year. I don't see him coming out. Everyone's talking about David Bailey, Texas Tech. He was an undersized edge at Stanford, went to Texas Tech. And I do not see that. I can name 5 edges at least that I would take. I'm not as high on everyone as David Bailey for Texas Tech. Anthony Smith, Minnesota, 6'6", 285, edge. And you could even slide him into perfect 5-tech for a team that's looking to, let's say, switch to a 3-4. And then bang, right after him, another 5-tech, Max Luwan, Iowa. I can't. Kenyatta Jackson. So I'm just gonna went too far with this video. Not too far. I just went a little bit too long because I'm gonna sort of get back to this how this started. The other day, I think it was yesterday or the day before. I think it was Tuesday. I'm not sure. The Athletic put out a wide receiver that they were saying is, it's their most. He was risen the most, and he's a 3rd-round pick. And the Athletic put their article out at 6 a.m. Yet I was watching game tape of this kid. I watched like 3 games of him, like at 3:17 in the morning. And then I thought I missed him. I'm like, how did I miss this kid? How did I miss him? And I went through like 9 notebooks over there. And yet he was sitting right in front of me. So, like I said, tight end, the tight ends are small this year. I'll leave it at that. I got some surprises. But so then, long story short, how I'm going to wrap this video up is PFF, who sucks, they came out with like the number one punt returner, kick returner. And so I went to go, and I'm like, yeah, that's cute. I dropped him like 3 months ago. And then when I went and looked for him, I found Ted Hurst, and I believe he was draft prospect 184, and I dropped him August the 1st. So I didn't miss him. And I dropped him, and I did see him last year and this year. So people are talking about him now, yet I put him on the radar in August. And you're going to see some people even comment that are like, back in August, I'm like, I'm glad people are starting to talk about this kid. So I'm going to put that kid in the comment section, and we're going to, next time we talk about Ted Hurst will be when you see my final wide receiver rankings. But I'm going to put my original August 1st video here on Ted Hurst and some of his highlights from this year. I didn't miss him, and I was killing myself, man. I'm like, how'd I miss this kid? And I didn't. I just went through the wrong books. Because we all know when you're rocking with the GWO, February the list is starting to come out. Thank you, everybody. Dog Pound. Boom. Thank you for jumping in.